Multicolor. Let's take a look at some of these. Vampire Socialite. Ooh, the new waifu. Menace. I love vampires with Menace. 2/2. Whenever Vampire Socialite enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, J Villain, aka That Villain J. And tonight, we have a very special treat for you. Very special treat. We are doing not a deck, but Innistrad Midnight Hunt spoilers. I just can't wait any longer, guys. I usually like to do my previews a little bit closer to when the deck comes out. I mean, when the set comes out. But man, I am just too hyped for this stuff right now. I am way too hype. So we're gonna go over this tonight. We're gonna see these werewolves, these vampires, these darknesses. Oh yes, you know it's exactly what I'm looking for, guys. You know this is right up my alley. You know to follow me here for all the best Innistrad decks. And you know that if you don't tenderly press that like button, gently press that subscribe button, you know that a werewolf called the Like and Subscribe will come and hunt you down and attack you with his werewolf claws. It's a guaranteed fact. So you gotta watch out for that. Please just gently push that like button and make sure you subscribe for all the best Innistrad content. I guarantee that. Join us every night on our Twitch, on our stream, twitch.tv/thatvillainj. I will be there. Everyone will be there. The Council of Birds, everybody will be there. 11 o'clock Eastern time, PM. Join us on our Twitch. And again, if you want to see the spoilers and all the news up to date, join our Discord community. We'd love to have you there. All those links can be found down in the description below. Let's get going here. If you haven't seen these lovely manas that are coming out, these are great. So we're going to start with white. Let's take a look at the spoilers we have. So there is a lot of fun stuff. It has pretty much everything that I love. Werewolves, angels, vampires, zombies. It's all here, man. It's all here. Curse of Silence is a really interesting one because it's basically like everybody's favorite card that you see playing a lot, called Spellbinder Elite, I believe it's called. That 3/1 white card that you choose a card and it costs 2 more. Except this is an aura curse. I imagine that there's going to be curse cards in almost every single color. And there might be some more curse mechanics coming out. You choose a card, spells with the chosen name, enchanted player cast costs 2 more. When an enchanted player casts a spell with a card, you may sacrifice curse card. If you do, draw a card. So it gives you a reward. It punishes them and gives you a reward if they want to play it. If you know what your opponent is playing, very solid. If you pair this with something like Spellbinder, where you get to look at their hand, or any of these, if you run it in an Orzhov shell, where you're getting to look at other people's hands and stuff like that, you can really use this to most effect. Then we have these double cards. Okay. Oops, I accidentally clicked it instead of flipping it. Enduring Angel, I think, is probably going to be the most interesting one that we're going to end up seeing. Let me get back to the white here. I clicked it and everything goes nuts. So, flipped cards, transformation is keyed to a new mechanic in Innistrad called the day and night cycle. Basically, the way the day and night cycle works, and I might have this wrong, but if nobody casts any spells, it becomes day, and if somebody casts 2 or more spells, it becomes night. So let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at it here, guys. We have these day and night token cards that come out. Here's what I'm looking for here. I'll put it up on the screen in the video so you can see what I'm talking about in big form. So basically, these are going to control the transformations now. These are your double-sided, dual modal cards, as they're called. Some are different colors, but some are the same colors. Enduring Angel and Angel Enforcer. It's a mythic rare, and by good reason. It's going to work great in a mono white Angel deck. It might be able to work in a something like a Orzhov, but it's going to be tough because of that triple white color. 3/3 flying, double strike, you have hexproof, and then if you would die, Enduring Angel transforms. And then if Enduring Angel didn't transform this way, you lose the game. So kind of one of those all or nothing ones. Its power and toughness is equal to your life total, and when it attacks, double your life total. Amazing, amazing stuff here. So the angels, going into story stuff, the angels appear to be trying to rallying from Avacyn's death. Here's Avacyn's memorial. Avacyn went crazy and started killing people because she absolutely went nuts because of Emrakul's influence. A lot of lore on that back one. If you want me to do more lore, I will. But here, so we're going to be looking at that. So the angels are trying to make a comeback. We also have Flashback, which are commander-only cards. I am not that interested in them, to be perfectly honest. I don't play paper commander. I don't care, so it doesn't really matter. So here's a good example of day and night right here. Ward 1, if it's neither day or night, it becomes day as Davany Gondard enters the battlefield. Whenever day becomes night or becomes day, look at the top 4 cards of your library, with a mana value of 3 or less from among them, and put them in your hand, put the rest of your value. So this is going to be some interesting stuff. There's going to be mechanics. Even non-transforming cards are going to have day and night mechanics happening on them, which is going to be really interesting. Day and night are going to figure in very, very, very heavily into the mechanics here. So I'm going to get you a really nice image in the beginning of how the day and night mechanics works. There is a lot of transforming dual modal cards in this one. You're really going to have to learn how to maximize using day and night, and it's really going to affect the game. The push and pull of these day and night cycle cards are going to really complicate the game, because people are going to be making it day, night as time goes on. It's a very fascinating idea. I like the new mechanic. I really liked when they had these world mechanics that affect the entire play of the world. Here we go, man. In Innistrad, there's 2 things that you can guarantee. It's this, guys. Zombies can be blue. Zombies are blue and black, and vampires are red and black. Other places, zombies might be other things. In Amonkhet, zombies were occasionally white. In some other planes, vampires were occasionally white. No, Innistrad, blue and black zombies, and of course, vampires are red and black. So that's what we can guarantee here. Puppet Stitcher, he makes dolls, he makes zombies, and then he turns into Puppet Factory. It makes creature tokens and turns everybody into 3/3 toughness here. Again, another transformation card, but that's not keyed to the day and night cycle. Dimir is going to get strong. Dimir is always incredibly strong in Innistrad. Keep an eye out for that. Inventory Zombie. Another crazy, amazing zombies. Locked in the graveyard. Help, I'm not a zombie, let me out. Some amazing themes here. Bait Hook Angler, and then, look at this one. Hook Haunt Drifter. It's a spirit. If Hook Haunt Drifter would be put in a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Daybound and Nightbound. You can cast things. We have a disturb mechanic. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its disturb cost. So basically, if it dies, it can come back. And then if it dies, it gets exiled again. Ominous Roost. Oh, I'm sorry. They aren't modal. Modal implies a choice. Technically, you do have a choice. They can be forced out of it, but you can force them into it. Modal, yeah, I mean, they aren't technically modal. I apologize for my semantics here. Ominous Roost, the Council of Birds is extremely excited about this one. When it enters the battlefield, whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, create a 1/1 blue bird token with flying. This is going to go great in your Necromancy's decks, especially if you're doing something like token decks, like Puppet Stitcher, and you get Puppet Factory, then they become all 3/3s. You can already see a lot of interaction here from graveyard. Mono blue, I think, is going to be powerful again. I think we're going to see more mono blue stuff. You're going to really have a lot of good stuff here. Some evergreen stuff here. Investigate is coming back, which was kind of the it's kind of like a treasure token or a food token, except that you can pay to draw a card. So there's treasure tokens which give you mana, there's food tokens which give you life, and there's investigate which gives you clue tokens, and clue tokens give you cards. So that's kind of your main That's kind of your main with a your main token kind of spending economy there. So we have some flash and some other stuff. Spirit decks I think are going to get a great boost. There's already seeing a lot of spirits in this one. Triskaidekaphile, Consider. Yeah, we've seen all these. So let's take a look at, oh, my favorite. Yes. Let's take a look at the blackguards. Oh my goodness. The zombies, guys. The zombies. Champion of the Perished. I mean, I'm going to be crafting it day one. It's probably going to go into the first deck that I make. A 1/1, when another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it. Are you kidding me? Yes, I'm going to put so many zombies out. We have a werewolf that is black, which is probably one of the first black werewolves that I've seen in a long time. I think originally there may have been one, Lycanthrope, back in the day, one of the old cards, but generally werewolves were red and green. This guy, he is a corpse eater. Look at this guy. He cannot stop eating corpses. I mean, you know, it happens to the best of us. What can I say? Nightbound. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day the next turn. So it's going to go back. So if you want Graveyard Gluttonous, it's got to be night, and then it can be Graveyard Trespasser. It has Ward, which is really nice. I'm loving to see these cards with Ward. And when it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target creature from a graveyard. If it was a creature card exiled this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain life. Graveyard hate is going to be important, guys. I think, aside from just being silly, I think that graveyard hate's going to be a thing, because when you're dealing with this much necromancy, guys, you're going to need to get rid of those corpses. Otherwise, they're going to come back. Now let's talk about a new mechanic that we're going to have here that we're going to see. Here's another one of those commander-only decks with flashback. This spell costs X, where X is the greatest mana value of the commander on the battlefield or in the commander zone. So not really that useful for me personally, or I think in the long run. Whatever, if you're a commander player, good on you. Enjoy it. I just don't really do it. Hobbling Zombie. Yes, a common. 3-drop, little expensive for a zombie, but he is a death toucher. When Hobbling Zombie dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Now, Decayed is important here, guys, because a lot of stuff is having Decayed. If you have a regular zombie, fine, he's a zombie. He's a little bit well put together. A Decayed zombie or a Decayed creature can't block, and when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. Basically, it's a one-shot. It's shambling, it's falling apart, it's got 1 good hit in it. When you're getting these decayed creatures, you basically want to use them immediately, because they are just basically there to be thrown at the enemy. They're really that undead horde thing. The interesting thing is, you create a zombie token when this dies, meaning that when another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, you're going to put a 1/1 counter on Champion of the Parish. So he can come into play, immediately die, and another zombie comes into play. He's going to get that for each one. That's pretty good for a 1-drop, guys. They're also great sacrifice fodder, as Stignox says. A decayed zombie, great. Use Deadly Dispute on him, man. Get those tokens, get those cards. Yeah, exactly like pests. We have best girl here, guys. Gisa, Glorious Resurrector. I used to play Gisa decks, Dimir Gisa decks all the time. Her and her brother. What was her brother's name? I can't remember. Human Wizard, 4/4. She is kind of like Draugr Necromancer. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature card exiled with Gisa Glorious Resurrector on the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed. She is going to bring back a shambling zombie version of everybody who dies. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what they did, as long as you love her. Wait, no, that's a song. They're going to come back as a gross, decaying, shambling version. In removal decks, she is going to be terrible. She is going to be a beast. I want to see her with something like, combine her with something like Draugr Necromancer. It's going to be crazy. But if you're running heavy removal in black, she's just going to take everybody, turn it into a decaying zombie, and throw it right back at you. It's going to be terrible. If you're going to run some indestructibility for her, she's going to be unstoppable. Siege Zombie. Tap 3 untapped creatures you control. Each opponent loses 1 life. Not great, but I see if you have a lot of decay, if you have a lot of decayed creatures, that might be useful, or a lot of pests. Baneblade Scoundrel, Human Rogue Werewolf. Look at this guy. Baneblade Marauder. Some more black werewolves. So could we see some team-ups between werewolves and vampires? Could we see a Veto X like and subscribe deck? I don't know. Am I teasing it? Yes, I am. So I'm loving to see a little bit more variety. Heirloom Mirror, Foul Play. Foul Play is going to be a fun one. Kind of like an early removal that lets you get a late turn card draw. Heirloom Mirror, and then of course we don't know what the back of this is. Speak my name thrice and be rewarded. It's going to turn into some sort of demon, I believe. Infernal Grasp, I love. That's an old card. I don't mind sacrificing. Defenestrate is funny. It's when you throw somebody out a window. And then we have Jardor, Ghoul Caller of Nephalia. What about that name there? At the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature with Decayed. He is going to give you Decayed zombies every turn as long as you don't have any decaying. He's going to make sure you have plenty of fodder on the field. He's going to do a great job doing that too. So let's take a look at some red. Seize the Storm. Interesting one. With flashback, you may cast this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. Create a red elemental token with trample, and this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard plus the number of cards with flashback you own in exile. So if you're making a flashback Izzet deck, I think this is going to be useful. My expert in mono red, Mr. Tanuki, says he's not that excited about it, but we'll see. I think people find a way to abuse this one. Falcon Wraith League Fighter. Look at this lovely lady here. Discard a card, sacrifice a vampire, draw 2 cards. Activate only if an opponent lost life this turn. You're going to see this mechanic come up a lot. We do have some other spoilers on some other sites that are, if creatures died, you're going to gain things. So it's going to be really interesting. I don't really like the idea of sacrificing vampires for cards, especially when I have to sacrifice and discard. It's a lot to go through, so I'm not sure if that's going to be one. Village Watch, Haste and Daybound, and then Village Reavers. Oh, you didn't know there were werewolves. Wolves and werewolves you control have haste. Oh my goodness. Very, very useful here, guys. Very, very useful here. Look at those big boys. Lunar Frenzy, target creature you control gains X and First Strike and Trample. That is an amazing card. You throw one guy at that, this is going to be like the new, in my opinion, this is going to almost be like your new Embercleave, because you're going to be able to throw a huge, if you're running treasure decks, you're going to be able to throw a huge hit on someone when they're not expecting it. If you're running something like, the Flyers, you're running mono red Flyers or Goblins or something like that, and you have a lot of treasure, Goldspan Dragon or anything like that, the amount of mana you can throw to give First Strike and Trample to turn somebody into a werewolf in somebody is going to be great. Curse of Obsession is going to be really interesting. This is going to be something that's going to happen. Look, it's doing the Telltale Heart, by the way. I love the classic literature. That's the curse for red, so that's going to be interesting. Curse of Shaken Faith. I love this one. This is one I'm going to be playing. Enchant player. Whenever enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn, or copies a spell, Curse of Shaken Faith deals due damage to them. Oh my goodness. This is anti-Magecraft tech. Did anybody think that we were going to... see anti-Magecraft tech, men? This will screw up second spell and Magecraft decks completely. If somebody is relying on, Plumb the Forbidden and they want to cast it 10 times, well, they better have, they better have a lot of life, because they're going to get hurt. This will punish Magecrafters. They're going to repeat spells. It will also punish your Azorius and Mono White double spell decks. Very, very good. Best of 3 is going to get shaken up by this, but I think it's going to be useful in pretty much any deck, especially if you're running an Rakdos shell, something that's also draining life, like Warlock class with it. I think that's also going to screw people up. Thermo Alchemist, Tanuki almost cried when he heard this coming out. Everybody loves this card. It is the ultimate red burn card because it just keeps putting damage out. It basically adds a 1 damage kicker to every instant or sorcery spell you're throwing out there. Fantastic. I don't read Japanese, so I don't know what this is. I don't think it's been translated yet. It might just be a cover of a different 3/4, 4/5. Geist Flame Reservoir. Flame Channeler. Let's see what she turns into. Embodiment of Flame. Interesting. Whenever a spell you control deals damage, put a flame counter on Embodiment of Flame. Remove a flame counter, exile the target card library. You may play that card again. Very, very interesting. I like those. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with those. Light Up the Night, Play with Fire. Of course, we have all these eggs. Famished Foragers. I like this one. When Famished Foragers enters the battlefield and if opponent lost life this turn, add 3 red. Discard a card and draw a card. Yes, please. Yes, I want red ramp vampires in my deck. Yes, yes, I do. Can I make sure that they lose life this turn? Yes, yes, I can. Fantastic card, I think. I love cards that repay basically their cost when they hit the board. In mid-game, this can really shake things up. That's one that I'm excited to watch. And then here's Village Watch again. Brimstone Vandal. Classic Devil. If it dies, it deals damage. Light Up the Night. There's Chandra doing her thing. Festival Crashers. The Harvest Festival is going to be really interesting. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Festival Crasher gets +2 until the end of turn. Festival Crasher with Lunar Frenzy on him, that's going to be a big boy right there. Tavern Ruffian, Daybound. If a player casts no spells during their turn, it becomes night. And then, of course, Nightbound. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day the next turn. So that's how those day-night cycles work. Tavern Smasher's a big girl. For only a 4-drop, if you can get her down and transformed, a 6/5 werewolf is going to be a banger. Let's finish it off with some green, and then we'll talk about some multicolor. Not too excited about green. Green has never really found its footing in Innistrad, in my opinion. It's always kind of had trouble on the haunted, cursed plane. I am interested in Howl of the Hunt. There are some good werewolves here, but I've never really liked Innistrad green too much. I do like Clear Shot, and this one, this is probably the only green that I'm excited. Serif, the Vapor's Fang. Other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof. Imagine this with a Finn deck. Yeah, can you imagine it with a Finn deck, Finn the Fangbearer, pushing everybody in with Death Touches? Oh my goodness, man. Oh my god. Yeah. And then you can pay to untap another target creature or land you control instantly, so you can magically get Hexproof again, or immediately get Hexproof right away by untapping them. I think we're going to see a Finn comeback here, guys. Absolutely. Consuming Blob, another classic horror movie trope. Oh, look how complex it is. There's a freaking math equation down here, man. This is too big for me, man. Consuming Blob power is equal to the number of card types in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. Oh my goodness. Okay. I feel like I need the quadratic equation to figure this out. At the beginning of your end step, create a green ooze token. This creature's power is equal to the number of card type amongst your cards in graveyard. Its toughness is equal. So it basically makes copies of itself every turn, which is number of types, power, and the number of types +1. It's a Lurgoyf. It's not Rocket Surgery. Yeah, Blob is going to be interesting. I think this is going to become quickly a hated deck, especially how quickly. I mean, it has a 5 mana cost, but with green ramp being what it is, you're going to see this on turn 3 occasionally. So, as we all know, Friendly Barkeeper or Prosperous Innkeeper is in everybody's hand. They usually have 3 or 4 of them in their hand starting out. So we're probably going to see him turn 3 or 4 and going nuts. We have a lot of festival cards here. Oh, Ren and 7. I'd be remiss if I didn't show Ren and 7. Classic stuff here. Not really excited about the Planeswalker. Creates Tree Folks. Reveal the top 4 cards. Put any land cards on your hand. Battlefield tap. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, but I'm never, I'm not a Planeswalker guy, but hey, if you like them, go for them. Candlelit Cavalry, a lot of stuff about the festival and a lot of stuff about werewolves. I also like that we're getting regular wolves, man. I'd like to see an upgrades to my World Eaters Sorrowful Wolf deck. I think this is going to be pretty good. Pestilent Wolf getting Death's Touch and Snarling Wolf getting +2. It's going to be pretty good. I think we're going to see some wolves and werewolves decks. Howl of the Hunt is really going to be an interesting card to have, especially being a common flash enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, if enchanted creature is a wolf or a werewolf, untap it, and it gets +2/+2 and has vigilance. That's going to be surprising. There's Ren and 7. Visions of Dominance. I don't even feel... Yeah, that's the one that's a commander card. So if we look at some double ones, colorless, Pithing Needle is making a comeback. A lot of people are excited about this one. I don't know how I feel about it. There's going to be a lot of hand hate, man. Choose a card name. Activated abilities of sources with this chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. You're going to flat out shut down some cards with Pithing Needle. It's a reprint. People are going to have to learn how to use Pithing Needle again. It was a very popular one. If somebody's pulling off some spammy stuff, like Pithing Needle against a Tegrid's Lantern deck, Pithing Needle is going to shut it down. And if you're running mono black, what kind of enchantment destruction do you have? So going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of counterplays to a lot of stuff coming up. The Celestus. This is a weird thing here. If it's neither day or night, it becomes day. This kind of forces night. This kind of forces day on everybody. So if it becomes day or night, it becomes day as soon as... If it's neither day or night, it becomes day. Add 1 mana of any color. If it's night, it becomes day. Otherwise, it becomes night, activated as a sorcery. Whenever it becomes night or night becomes day, you gain 1 life. You may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Very, very interesting. It's going to be a weird thing here. It makes me wonder if there's going to be a negative version of this that is like the Obscurus or something like that forces night on everybody. That would be an interesting counterplay. So Curse of Leeches, that's going to be a fun one. I think that with Gain and Drain decks, I think that's going to be a banger. I love any kind of thing that does stuff like that. I think if you put enough of these on, man, it's daybound, and we don't know what it transforms into yet, so it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Multicolor, let's take a look at some of these. Vampire Socialite, the new waifu. Menace, I love vampires with Menace, 2/2. Whenever Vampire Socialite enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. Easy to do, especially if you're running red or black. As long as an opponent lost life this turn, each other vampire you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1. Kriesig Naturalist, great stuff here. Let's see, it's reverse. Lord of the Ulverwald. Other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1. Whenever Lord of the Ulvenwald attacks, add red or green. Until the end of turn, you don't lose this mana. It's nightbound and daybound. Autumn Sovereign. We have a lot of stuff about this Harvest Fest. It's basically Halloween time in Innistrad, which is it's going to be pretty interesting stuff. 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Then if you control 3 different more creatures with different counters, draw a card. Coven is going to be a new ability. That's going to be very interesting. Can't Stay Away is going to be great. I love stuff that puts things right back onto the battlefield. That is my favorite thing to see. I really don't like, I shouldn't say I hate, I really don't like when it says, oh, you can return it to your hand. Well, great, I can play it next turn, and then it has Summoning Sickness, and then I can attack. No, man. I want it right on the battlefield. So that's going to be a good one. It's got Flashback too. Rite of Harmony. Whenever a creature and enchantment enters the battlefield and you control, draw a card. That's going to be interesting. A little bit of extra card draw for Selesnya. Blade Stitch Backstab. A zombie soldier with like 8 arms. Good for him. Other zombies you control get +1. Hey, solid. And of course, Devoted Graphkeeper. Graph is basically graves, as the graveyards are called the Graph. I don't know why they're called the Graph. This becomes a spirit on the other side. I don't think we have it here. I want to say that Arlene's Voice of the Pack and Tolvar Dire Overlord, my assessment of the Bard class, has gone up. We have so many legendary Gruul cards coming out that when they're the Bard class for legendary stuff, I think they must have known that, hey man, Bard class is not good right now, but it's going to pay off in the future. Remember I ranked it D tier in my other video where I ranked the D&D classes. But I think with these ones, reducing their cost, I mean, his cost is going to be 1. That's amazing. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves or werewolf, it becomes night. Then transform any number of human werewolves you control. Amazing. And then, of course, Arlene, she has been there for a long time. Daybound, she is a planeswalker. Until the end of next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1. And you can create 2 wolf tokens. Ooh, amazing. Yeah, Gruul is ascendant right now, and Arlene, the Moon's Fury, Nightbound, you can add mana with her until the end of turn. She becomes a 5/5 trampler. I was reading an article and it said Arlene Pax Hope is the end. It heralds the end of control decks. I don't know about that. I don't want to say that, but it's certainly going to make things very, very interesting. We're also going to have one of my favorite ones here. I like seeing Selesnya Angels, moving away from the Orzhov Angels. What this opens up is for something that I love, which is Abzan Angels. Sigarda, Champion of Light. Flying Trample. She is an angel that inspires humans. What does that mean I'm going to do? That means I'm going to make a Selesnya human deck. I'm going to make a Selesnya Human Angel Cleric deck. Flying and Trample. 4/4 Flying and Trample is amazing. Coven. She has her Coven ability. Whenever Sigarda attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, look at the top 5 of your cards in the library. You may reveal a human and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. Now, I have a funny thing to say about Sigarda. Do you see how that happens? How her Coven ability activates? Do you notice how it's not whenever a human attacks, you can choose any card from the top 6 cards of your library, put it on the battlefield, make it invulnerable, and also attacking? Do you see how that is a balanced ability compared to some other cards who will remain nameless, who do something similar and are also the same cost? And how she is actually a little bit more expensive than this other particular card, and is more balanced and not completely broken. I'm just saying. Wizards appears to have calibrated its power level ideas, because if this card was similar to a different card, let's say a Boros card that made you just choose any top 6 cards of your deck and just put them on the battlefield, tapped, attacking, and invulnerable, would be, that would be a lot more powerful than this for the same price. So it appears that we've swung back in the correct direction. So we have a lot of great stuff coming up, guys. We have amazing things happening. If we want to look at some other spoilers, there's pretty much all the same thing. Some stuff is in other languages. Some stuff is still coming. But we are really going to get... Might of the Old Ways I didn't see. That's another Coven card. Candle Trap is going to be interesting. Enchanted creature as defender. Prevent all combat damage will be dealt. It basically binds anybody, which is going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of stuff, man. I think I'm going to have to do... another preview deck, because there is so much good stuff coming in this. There is beautiful lands coming. There is all sorts of stuff. Before I forget, let me look at one more thing here. We are getting some manas. These are going to be the manas we have. These are the check manas. Two land manas. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 more. So they want you to have more mana as opposed to less. There are some that there's the Snarl lands, and then there's some that are tapped unless you control 2 or more. These are kind of at odds with the man lands, but these are going to be your double lands coming out for this set there. So keep an eye out for those. I don't know how useful they're going to be with... they're better than the Snarls, but I don't know how much better they are going to be than the Pathways. I think if you have Pathways, stick with Pathways. If you're running something like a triple color, I think that they'll help add a little bit more color variety, but to me, Pathways are the best things going right now. So I also love, if you've noticed the motif of Innistrad, everything is dark. Green is dark, white is dark, red is dark, everything is dark all the time. You can even see the Selesnya is overgrown farmland. It's filled with rotten pumpkins and dirty pathways. Like, you always see Selesnya as trees and forests and happy and flowers. Look how nice Selesnya looks in Innistrad. It looks like crap anyways. Deserted Beach, it's Azorius. Oh, what about Azorius? The Azorius Senate and knowledge and order and peace and study. Deserted Beach. Look at this ramshackle boardwalk leading to nowhere. I just love the feel of Innistrad, man. I'm so happy to be returning. I'm having a great time. I want to hear what you're talking about. I want to hear your thoughts on the set. I want to hear what you're excited for. I want you to leave a like. I want comments in this video, guys. Make sure you're leaving a comment. What are you excited for? What did I miss? What did I not cover? I am super stoked. As you can see, I've been talking nonstop for 30 minutes, already making deck ideas in my head, guys. So I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to run on too long. We'll be back real soon with some more decks. But man, hype level is at, I don't think it could get any higher, man. I'm at about a 91% right now. If I can see some more vampires, my head's gonna explode. So that's gonna be it for there. A word of the day, of course, is going to be hunt. I'm super stoked. I'd like to hear what you have to say. I want some feedback. I'm gonna start building decks as soon as we get the full reveal next. As soon as we get the full reveal, probably next week, I'm going to start doing a preview, and I'm going to build my first deck on stream. Make sure you follow for that. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you join us on YouTube. I've been Jay Villain. My hype level's through the roof, and you've been great. Bye-bye, everybody.